Commission. And I am assuming everybody can see a presentation on the screen, and also assuming people can hear me. Thank you for being here. This is a second of 3 public meetings the PSC is conducting in the case of Bluegrass Water Utility Operating Company. The case number is 2020-290. If you are watching this via YouTube and have not had a chance to sign up to speak but would wish to speak, you can do so by sending an email to the address on the screen. It's psc.meeting@ky.gov. Please include your name, address, and a phone number. I'm going to provide just a brief summary of the Public Service Commission and a few items regarding a rate case and this application in particular, not going into a lot of detail. We'll move into the public comment phase pretty quickly. So the mission of the Public Service Commission is to foster the provision of safe and reliable service at a reasonable price to the customers of jurisdictional utilities, while providing for the financial stability of those utilities by setting fair and just rates and supporting their operational competence by overseeing regulated activities. The Public Service Commission, it's an independent regulatory agency. It's a 3-member commission. It functions as it has judicial functions in that we conduct hearings and discovery and other elements of judicial function. We regulate approximately jurisdictional utilities. Most of those are water and sewer, those small utility systems. That we also regulate natural gas distribution systems and interstate pipelines, electric utilities, including investor-owned and jurisdictional electric cooperatives, a small number of telecommunications. The PSC does not regulate municipal utilities except for gas pipeline safety. And the Public Service Commission does not regulate cooperatives that are served by the Tennessee Valley Authority. As part of the rate-making process, we are governed by statutes, KRS 278, regulations derived from those statutes, legal principles derived from the application of statutes and regulations over time. Per statute, rates must be fair, just, and reasonable. Utilities are allowed to recover through rates the costs of serving their customers, plus the ability to earn a reasonable rate of return on the capital investments. For an IOU, investors are entitled to opportunity to earn a return on equity. For the nonprofit utilities, co-ops, and other nonprofit utilities, rates must be adequate to meet lender requirements and also to maintain the utility's financial stability. Also, per statute, utilities are required to file a 30-day notice of intent before they file an application for a rate case. And they are also required to provide public notice. The clock starts when an application is deemed to be complete. In this case, the date was November 19, 2020. Rates cannot take effect for 30 days. And typically the PSC imposes a suspension period. Depending on the nature of the case, that suspension period is 5 months or 6 months. In this case, it's 6 months. And so the suspension period is extended up to and including June 19, 2021. Also, per statute, a rate case has to be completed within 10 months. And then after a final order is issued, rehearing requests must occur within 23 days of that time. Bluegrass Water submitted its application, as I indicated, in November, and their application includes a general increase in water and sewer rates and a certificate of construction. And they are proposing a unified rate for their water customers and a unified rate for the sewer customers. The next slide shows the affected utilities and their customers. These were utilities that Bluegrass Water received approval to acquire. And you'll notice in the box, by a commission order dated March 24, those systems in case number 2020-297 were not approved at the time Bluegrass Water submitted the application for the unified rates, and so those utilities will not be part of the overall rate analysis. The interveners in this case, the Office of Attorney General, Office of Rate Intervention, and then also several of the homeowners associations that represent the customers of Bluegrass Water. So the next steps in this case, regarding public comments, if someone desires to make a public comment and hasn't had a chance either in today's public meeting or tomorrow, they may do so. There's some time allotted at the beginning of the formal hearing on May, and a phone line, and the number for that phone line will be made available on our website. And that's psc.ky.gov. The hearing, which begins on May 18th, is scheduled to last 2 days. It will be virtual, as is this public comment meeting. However, the hearing will be live streamed. And at any time during any rate proceeding, public comments are accepted as long as that case is underway until a final order is issued. So if you would like to make a public comment in writing, you may do so by sending an email to psc.info@ky.gov. The case number in the subject line, and then your full name and place of residence in the body of email. So this concludes just the brief overview, and I'm going to turn off my screen share, and Chairman Schmidt will be presiding over the public comment portion of today's meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Platek, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I guess you were on mute, so you'll need to stay on mute until it comes your time to speak. But I wanted to make sure that that you could hear. Sometimes in these virtual meetings, things don't work out the way they're expected to, and voices go off and everything. So, all right, I'm now going to read our prelude to this meeting. My name is Michael Schmidt. I'm chairman of the Kentucky Public Service Commission. This meeting is being recorded for the benefit of the public, the record, and in order for the other two commissioners to review and consider. We are here today to take public comments in the rate case of Bluegrass Water, case number 2020-00290. To reiterate the point made during the overview, the role and obligation of the PSC is to ensure that rates are fair, just, and reasonable. We understand in any rate case proceeding, there are strong feelings and opinions. We ask that you provide comments today, that when you provide comments today, that you're respectful and also mindful of the time limit for each speaker. We are here to listen. The utility is not presenting during the public comment meetings, and neither are any intervenors in the case. The utility and the other parties have their opportunity to make their case during the pendency of this matter. This is an opportunity for customers of the utility and the public to state their positions, concerns, and provide the Commission comments for its consideration. Again, the Commission is here to listen. During today's comment session, I will not be answering questions. The Commission is the fact finder and decision maker in this case, and as such, the Commissioners are unable to comment or speak to the process or substance of the pending application. Nevertheless, questions you raise during your comments may well be of assistance to the Commission and its staff in adjudicating this matter. If you have questions for the utility or the parties to the case, you may ask them during this public meeting with the anticipation that those entities can later convey an appropriate answer outside of the public meeting. Contact information for the company can be received by calling the Public Service Commission and speaking to our staff at 502-564-3940. Given the number of participants that have initially indicated their interest in providing comments, we will be limiting the length of comments to 5 minutes. We will let you know when you have 1 minute remaining. As always, written comments may be made to the Commission at any time during the consideration of a case and must include your name, address, and state the case number, which is 2020-00290. When you speak, please provide your name and address prior to your questions or comments, and we will now begin taking comments. Mr. Platek, would you like to make a comment at this time?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and an early thank you. You pronounced my name correctly. Nobody ever gets that, so thank you very much. I have prepared just a one page, and forgive me for having it typed out, and I'll read it. I hate people that do that, but this will keep me short and on time and keep me to point. My wife and I reside at 76 Lake Point Lane in New Concord, Kentucky. Like all other Center Ridge system customers, we are water-only customers of Bluegrass Water Utility. Wastewater is not provided to us in Center Ridge by Bluegrass. If this proposal is approved, we and all other Center Ridge water customers will be faced with a 364.6% increase in our monthly water rates. On May 7th of this year, we received a letter from Bluegrass Water Utility, presumably sent to meet the rules of this commission, which began, and I quote, "After implementing professional operations and investing more than $5 million in improving water and wastewater infrastructure in your community, Bluegrass Water is working to ensure you have access to clean, safe, and reliable drinking water and wastewater system," end quote. This was received 3 days before this virtual meeting. If you have seen the facility of the Center Ridge system, and photos have been provided and uploaded to your site during the initial reporting and comment period last fall from a number of people, I won't bore you by sending more. If you request them, we can get them. You have to wonder if there is any of the $5 million was actually spent in Center Ridge. The facility is a rundown shed and a small tank. There is still no backup generator to supply community water during power outages, which have become far too frequent. Just this month alone, there have been 2 separate outages which have shut off the water for more than 17 hours. As this commission has hopefully read the hundreds of Center Ridge customers' comments already on record and previously submitted the initial submission of this request from Bluegrass Water in the fall of 2020, most of the residents are on fixed income or only part-time lake community residents. The proposed rate increase, or even a small fraction of that increase, would go beyond the means of many residents. Most of these customers cannot afford to have their rate increase from essentially $23 a month to $106 a month. the proposed 364.4% increase is beyond ridiculous. Major cities with sewer included do not have rates even close to the requested rate. Considering that a large number of residents are using the system only a small fraction of the time, and many are not there even 3 to 5 months during the winter, the demand for water is greatly reduced, yet all residents pay a monthly service year-round, and that's only fair. I'm not complaining about that. But during seasonal holidays such as 4th of July, Labor Day, Memorial Day, when there are more people visiting the lake and friends and relatives, the demand on the water increases and the pressure issues become apparent. The Center Ridge system is not a metered water system. We would hope that any approved rate increase to the Center Ridge customers is used to upgrade the Center Ridge system and is not a supplement to the other systems already owned by Bluegrass Water. It is interesting the Center Ridge system has by far the highest rate increase proposed of any of the Bluegrass Water system holdings. If Bluegrass Water Utility is truly going to upgrade the Center Ridge system, I believe most customers would consider a fair and reasonable increase to ensure a reliable and quality water supply. Capital improvements to the Center Ridge water system could be identified and the customers assess the cost until all identified issues are addressed, and then assessment would terminate. As proposed, it would appear the rate increase would be a new monthly rate with a windfall profit continuing until the next rate increase cycle, and still no improvements have been identified. It would appear the Center Ridge water system customers will receive the highest rate increase requested yet in this particular case, and yet we have received little or nothing from the previously mentioned $5 million Bluegrass claims to have already invested. Maybe you could remove Center Ridge entirely from this request, and because it doesn't seem to apply to some of the other holdings. To the members of the Kentucky Public Utility Commission members and commissioner, we respectfully request you deny this request and investigate a reasonable alternative for the Center Ridge system improvements and only approve a fair, as you stated at the very beginning, as Karen had mentioned, as Ms. Wilson had mentioned at the start, a fair and reasonable water rate. And believe it or not, I am done, and thank you for hearing me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Platek. Appreciate your comments, and we'll take everything you have said and all of the written comments that we've also previously received into consideration in the case. Another speaker, or another person who had signed up to speak was Douglas Glenn. Is Mr. Glenn available or on the line?
Yes, sir, I am.
Oh, okay, I see you're down on caller number 1. Well, Mr. Glenn, you may proceed. Please state your name and your address, and then you can go ahead and make your statement.
Douglas Glenn, my address is 91 Cozy Lane there in Center Ridge. I don't know that I could have put it any better than the previous caller. I was just calling in to find out exactly what kind of improvements they've made to our water system because I haven't seen any. The only thing I've seen is an employee with a truck, and that's it. There's been no infrastructure built whatsoever, and out of that $5 million that our previous caller spoke about, just how much of that actually went into Center Ridge. But anyway, I guess I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And thank you for hearing me, by the way.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for calling in. And as I guess we told Mr. Platek, if you'd like to make a written comment, or perhaps call in at the prior to the start of the video virtual hearing, whenever it's held next week or week after, you're certainly welcome to do so. And I know you asked a question. Obviously, I can't answer any questions, but if this proceeding were outside of the pandemic era, someone from Bluegrass would be present and would afford you the opportunity to ask them these questions, and they could answer them for you or provide some type of response after the meeting was over. That's not the case here, but perhaps Bluegrass will be able to send you a response along with you and Mr. Plotek about any improvements that allegedly were made to your system or what their plans are for those. A representative is here from the Office of Attorney General. If you had any questions, the Attorney General has intervened in the case, and you can certainly ask them either by a private phone call after this is over, or make a request now, and the AG's office will either be in contact with you in writing or by phone. We have the phone numbers here in case anybody knows it, but as a general rule, when we used to hold these public comment sections in public, AG's office would always have at least one person present, and people would go up and ask questions after the section was over. So let me ask at this time, is there anyone else on the line or anyone else watching this who would like to make a comment for the commission? Okay, if not, before we bring this to a close, if anyone would like to ask the Attorney General's office a question, we can't be here to entertain the answer, but they may get back to you. And if not, then we'll bring the meeting to a close. Okay, well, thank you very much, and we would certainly appreciate it if you have an opportunity to watch the actual hearing itself so that you can hear the presentation of evidence, the examination and cross-examination, and the AG's office will be there for the benefit of providing representation on behalf of the public. So, yes, sir.
Just, pardon me, I know this is out of order, but I wanted to ask, is there any benefit, as you had just mentioned to the other caller from my community, to us presenting essentially our case again next week before the meeting? I mean, you have the video and you have our written comments already. Is it going to just tie up time for you?
No, you can if you choose to, but it's not necessary. We have your comments and Mr. Glenn's comments and the other material that's been presented, and I can promise you that we always read that information and take it into consideration. Okay? So it's not necessary, but I just wanted to let you know that was available to you if you chose to.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there's nothing else at this time, this public comment meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you all.